What's up, everybody? Unrested with the questions you requested. This is JFAQ, Japan's frequently asked questions, and today, recently in the news, we have been seeing a story about one Julie Hemp, a PR, public relations representative for Toyota Motors, who has recently been arrested. Now, what was she arrested for? If you haven't already read the story, she was arrested for having oxycodone mailed to her via a jewelry box she had already placed it in and sent over. So she had already moved to Japan. She had established residence here. She's working for Toyota here. And then she had all her stuff moved over via airmail. One of those things was a jewelry box. Within that jewelry box they found, I believe the correct number is 53 oxycodone pills. It may be 57, I can't remember exactly. That number really doesn't matter too much. What does matter is she truly guilty? It's kind of up in the air right now. I want to kind of hear public opinion from my own viewers because I think this is a very interesting subject. First of all, let me just let you know that oxycodone is considered a narcotic in Japan. Usually the only people who would be prescribed such a heavy dose of this drug would be people in terminal cancer at the last parts of their life in the most excruciating pain. Even if you break your leg in Japan, they are not going to prescribe you oxycodone. You'd usually get tramadol or probably a high level of Tylenol. It sucks. You usually end up in a lot of pain if you go to the hospital here. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I had my back severely injured one time and they gave me little to nothing in which to recuperate with, just like some of these sticky patches to put on my back when I had like pinched a nerve or pulled a muscle or something. It was something bad. I couldn't walk. I literally couldn't walk. So these are considered pretty much on the level of like morphine, heroin, like street drugs, okay? Usually they will not allow you to get prescribed these type of things. If you do want them prescribed for you and you do already have a prescription in your own country, usually what you would do is talk to your doctor in Japan or find a doctor in Japan, tell him that I am prescribed this. Usually what he'll do is get in contact with your doctor back in America or the hospital, that clinic that you go to in America. We'll get in contact with them, and what they'll do is they'll usually set up the prescription through that doctor. For example, there's certain heart pills, there's certain pills for different mental diseases and stuff like that that I know people out here have to take. I have friends who take hormones and different things like that as well, which are controlled. But what they have done is actually gone through a doctor here in Japan, let them know what they need. If it's not already readily available or usually prescribed in Japan, that doctor will confirm it with the one in America. They'll have it sent to the doctor in Japan, and usually then that doctor distributes it to you to make sure you're not just getting huge amounts of it and then selling it in Japan. That's what they're worried about, okay? Let's be 100% honest here. She did not do this, unfortunately. And what she's saying is that she didn't think it was wrong to have these mailed to her, which, I don't know, man. Okay, so I'm just your average Joe, right? I don't consider myself overly smart, overly intelligent. I'm sure she researched a little bit about Japan, just like I did before I got here. I already knew you couldn't bring stuff like that over. I knew anything that was prescription, number one, you at least had to have it within its prescription bottle with the prescription written on it. If at the airport they go through it and say, hey, you know, you can't bring this in here. I see you're prescribed it, but look, you just can't bring this in here. Then you have to figure something else out. She didn't even have it in its prescription bottle. What she actually had it in, this is where it starts to get a little bit sketchy, because at first I just thought like, hey, you know what, you got a jewelry box, you have some loose leftover pills from when you had some sort of prescription, you threw them in the bottom and totally forgot, had it mailed to you, and it was just by chance that they were in there. Well, it's a little bit different. They were in these special little plastic bags. They were actually placed into styrofoam, and the styrofoam was placed over top of it to kind of hide them down deep within these drawers. Then the necklaces this is where it gets really sketchy. The necklaces that she had within the jewelry box turned out to be like fake, phony necklaces, like worth nothing, like toy necklaces. And the reason I know this is because when the news actually reported on this in Japan, they literally rebuilt a diagram of how the jewelry box was. They built it piece by piece and took it apart and showed you. So they were very, very specific, making sure they got their information right with what they were talking about. That's where it gets a little bit sketchy, because at first when I heard this story I was like, oh man, she just forgot she threw some stuff into that drawer. But then when I saw the whole diagram and the box being taken apart, I was kind of like, why you gotta hide them so deep down, and why is your jewelry box filled with fake jewelry? Like, you're, you know, Toyota PR exec that got moved all the way out to Japan. You're making some big bucks. You can afford a little bit more even than Kay's Jewelers. You know, you got some Tiffany's or something in there, right? That's a little bit strange. You know, toy necklaces and stuff like that. That's where it starts to get sketchy for me. So now that she's had this mailed to her, she's actually under arrest right now. Her current status is unknown. The police in Japan can hold you anywhere from 21 to 23 days without speaking to anyone. So pretty much she might be getting interrogated right now, which would totally suck for her. I'm sure she's 100% regretting what she just did. What is probably going to happen to her, let's be 100% honest, she's probably not going to get arrested and go to jail for a long time here in Japan or anything like that. What's probably going to happen is she's going to get let go by Toyota company, deported, sent back to her own country, where in America it's not illegal to have oxycodone if you have a prescription, so she probably won't go to jail in America. But it will kind of leave a dent on her whole career path, I imagine, and she'll probably not be allowed to return to Japan for something like 10 years. That kind of sucks. She's pretty much probably ruined, unless this whole investigation turns out that she did have everything in order and the police just totally fucked up, which is possible. This has happened before. Police do make big mistakes in Japan. I'm really hoping that's what it is. I hope they've made a mistake, because quite honestly, this looks bad for Gaijin. It looks bad for Gaijin women trying to succeed in getting higher level jobs in Japan. That's who I really worry for. She's kind of really fucked it up for them if this truly is, you know, some sort of evil or malicious intention that she wanted to try and sneak these pills in. I kind of also wonder, like, is she addicted to these? A lot of people become addicted to these. I am from Florida, okay, people? People in Florida have seen a lot of painkiller addiction. I've seen many people addicted to painkillers, taking painkillers. There's these things called pain clinics in Florida, and they just give out these oxycodone, codeine pills, tramadol pills, they give them out like candy. People go in there and buy so many of them that people from other states were actually coming into Florida to buy them. So it was rampant, and these people would get addicted to these because they're on the level of like morphine and heroin. And you'll go into withdrawals. I've seen people go into like the equivalent to like dope sickness. So I'm wondering if she's on that level of being addicted to these. She might not be. This is total just me imagining what could have possibly gone wrong. There's no proof behind anything I'm saying. The only actual things that have happened is that she has been sent this jewelry box that did have those codeine pills in it. I mean, the oxycodone pills in it. Sorry, don't want to get the medicine wrong. So how do you guys feel? Do you think that she is guilty? When you hear the full thing, and I want you to go out and read the article too. I'll try to post a link if I can. How do you guys feel? Do you think that she's guilty for this one? Do you think she just accidentally forgot about the fact that she threw a couple of pills in the bottom of her jewelry drawer? Or do you think there was some sort of malicious intent behind there? I don't think, for 100%, I definitely don't think she was out to sell pills. Now that's just ridiculous. You make the kind of salary she does at her job, you don't need to go out and sell pills. So if they're going to try and hit her with that one, that's BS. But she may be to a point where she needs them constantly. She said, and I hope I don't get this wrong, that she had knee surgery recently and needed them for that, which could be totally true. But again, why aren't they in the prescription bottle? Anyway, guys, that's a little bit of a news article. I'd love to hear your comments on it. Love to hear your feedback and what you think may have happened there, or what could have possibly gone wrong. Or have you yourself ever run into this with you brought over some sort of medicine to a country in which later you found out, holy shit, I'm not allowed to have this in here. Until next time, I'm unrested with the questions you requested. This is JFAQ Japan's Frequently Asked Questions. Have a good one.